Welcome to Charter Local Edition. I'm Tracy Young. Our guest is Dr. Raye Adkins. She's the author of a book entitled Letters to My Father, The Gifts. It chronicles a personal tragedy that transpired prior to her birth, but how it helped her recover and hopefully help others do so also. Good to have you with us, Doctor.
Thank you for that.
We have a guest on set here, don't we?
Yes, we do.
He's being very good and very quiet.
Yes.
Real quickly, there's the Port Chicago tragedy that happened. It was July 17th, 1944. And basically, hundreds of naval men died because of an explosion that took place. But why is this personal for you?
It's personal for me because the book represents my journey through a tragedy, understanding a tragedy, getting over the tragedy. And it really chronicles things that I wanted to say to my father, things that I learned as a result of doing research on Port Chicago, and just to encase my feelings in a way that perhaps would help others as they travel through their own personal journeys.
Because your father was one of the men who was killed during this explosion that took place, and you yet were not, you were conceived, but you had not arrived in the world.
Had not made it.
4 months, it was 4 months before you were born.
Yes, yes.
You know, times are very different now, but when you were growing up, did many people talk to you, or did you ask, what happened to my daddy?
Constantly. And there were no answers. And so, you know, in the absence of answers, children make up their own. And so I had some commitments to him that I wanted to honor, and many of those commitments are outlined in the book. And so I grew up curious and feeling somewhat different. I did not meet many children whose father had passed before they were born, and so I felt like it was a little bit of an ostracism on me. I wasn't quite sure where to put it.
And when you went back to go research and learn this so you could better connect and at least understand what happened, was it easy to gain this information, or was it difficult?
The information was available. I traveled to some archives and picked up all the books that I could find on Port Chicago, all the articles. I was traveling at the time as a consultant, and so I would go into the libraries and read whatever I could find on Port Chicago. And then after I gathered the information, I wasn't sure what to do with it. And so one day, as I was thinking about my father and saying to myself what I would say to him if I could talk with him, I decided I would write the letters. And so the letters are personal messages to him. And
even though you actually never met him, do you feel connected to him
having
having written these letters?
Absolutely. Well, I was connected before the letters. I'm named for my father, and so I felt like I needed to honor him and do all those things that would represent his name very well. And so he has always been a part of my life. So the letter writing was just a natural venue for me to communicate that I had in my head.
So you're nice enough to share these. You wrote these and you decided to put a book together to share them. Why is it important, outside of for yourself, but you share these letters? And I mean, one thing I think is great about your book is, you can sort of see, it's not a large book, it's not an almanac. Somebody could pick it up and they could read a letter in a sequence, put it down and pick it up again. Why was it important, when other people read this, what can they get out of it?
Well, we have children today who are born in similar circumstances.
Right.
When the Oklahoma bombings occurred, I thought about the children. There were a group of children. When 9/11 occurred, I thought about a group of children who were left behind and didn't understand all that was going on in their little lives. And we have so many other children whose parents die in birth just for a number of reasons.
And or foster home, and some people that may not know their parents.
That's exactly right. There are a number of circumstances.
Okay, and how does the bear come in here?
Well, Collemore has his letter in there.
Okay.
One of the things that I wanted as a child was a gift, a personal gift from my father. And I knew that that wasn't going to happen.
Right.
And so as I went through a battle with depression, the first thing the counselor told me to do, and she didn't know I was in this battle, was to go and buy a gift that would have come from the hands of my father. And so I bought Collemore, took him home, and now he's a gift to children who are going to foster care.
Oh, and because many times everything is completely taken away from them, but this is the one thing they can hold on to that is theirs, and it cannot be taken away.
It helps the heart.
All right, so there's a bear, and then there's also a great book. Thank you for sharing your time with us. We appreciate your story.
Thank you.
For Charter Local Edition, I'm Tracy Young.